Hello, Greenwin residents. My name is Sari, and I am so honored to be here with you today to share some yoga and meditation. Today, I thought I would take you through a sequence to show you different ways to access certain parts of your body, different access points, same target muscles that we can get to and go for, just perhaps using gravity, sitting down, lying down. So there is lots of options here. You can think of this class as a buffet of movements to get into specifically the outer hips and the quadriceps. So let's go. For today's practice, you will need 2 blocks and a blanket. And if you don't have blocks, that's okay. You can really use anything around your house that just elevates your hands from the ground and just kind of brings the ground to you. And if you don't have a blanket, a towel, maybe a couch pillow, just a small pillow, just to, again, just prop your body up if we need it. So these props are just to support our practice as we move. So we're going to start today lying down. Hope everybody can see me and hear me okay. And you're going to make your way down to the mat, onto your back. And I'm going to give you options here. So first of all, if you have any mobility issues at all, you can do a lot of this practice seated in a chair. If you are lying down here, you have low back issues, for this opening, you can just keep the soles of the feet down. You can also extend your legs out like this and come into our resting pose to begin the practice. Alternatively, if you want to start to get into the hips already, you can bring the soles of the feet together. And when you're ready, you're just going to close the eyes. We're just going to move inside, take a few moments of stillness together. You're going to bring your left palm to the heart and right palm onto the belly. And just take a moment to arrive. And what I mean by that is no matter where you were and the conversations that you just had and the activities that you were doing, in this moment, you are choosing to be here in your practice. No matter where you're going after this time that you've carved out for yourself, no matter what you're doing later today or tonight, you've chosen to be here. So letting go of the past or the future and practice just being present. And take a very deep breath here in through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. Let's do that twice more. Just starting to bring some breath into the body. Inhale. Filling up your hands and exhale. And one more time like that. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to continue to just place our attention on our breath. You can keep your palms on your body or release them out to the side. And just play with riding the breath with your attention. The mind will fill up with lots of thoughts. That's the nature of the mind, so don't resist it. But continue to practice coming back to the breath again and again and again. Just like learning to tie your shoes, if you remember that. You have to keep trying. And then eventually it becomes a little, I'm not going to say easier, but simpler to move our attention back to our breath without judgment. We'll take one more breath here. And then as you blink your eyes open, you're going to reach your arms all the way up overhead. Take a good stretch. And then bring your arms down by your side. Soles of the feet come down to the mat if they're not already there. So for our first exercise, all you're going to do is give yourself a hug, right? Again, just honoring yourself for being here, whether you've never done yoga, you did it yesterday, or it's been a year, it's been a minute, doesn't really matter. We're here today, so that's what counts. Soles of the feet down. You're going to bend the right knee, hug the right knee to the chest, and very gently bring that right ankle over that left thigh. Now, if you're seated, you can do this stretch. We're getting into the outer right hip, part of the glute, kind of the lower glute or lower butt cheek, and that outer hip. And so here's one option, right? This may be a lot for some of you. Second, if you want to amp up your core a little bit, work the core, you can lift your left foot up. Now I'm flexing my left foot. You may stay here and you're engaging in what we call an isometric stretch, where I'm pressing my right ankle into my right thigh. It's an isometric movement. Sorry, I'm creating my own resistance here. One more option, you can interlace your fingers behind your left thigh or in front of your right shin. And we're just going to hold this for a few moments. Wherever you are, your hands are engaged in this or not, right? Maybe your hands are down, maybe your left foot is down, right? Regardless of where you are, okay, as you can feel, we're opening up through the outer right hip. And so this is the intention of the class, getting into the same place. So we're going for the same outcome, but being open to taking different routes there, right? And at this time in our lives, the more open that we are, the more creative that we get, the easier of a time we're going to have. So take a very deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Hug both knees to the chest. Good. Soles of the feet down. We're going to do that same sequence, and same options are available to you, just the other side. So I'm going to hug my left knee to my chest, or at least bend my left knee towards my chest. Left ankle over the right thigh. This may be a lot right here. Hands can go right to the thighs. You can hang here. You might lift your right foot up. So again, now you're working your core. So you're getting a 2-for-1 outcome here, working the core, opening in the outer left hip, or going a little bit deeper in just that outer left hip, interlacing your fingers behind your right thigh or in front of your right shin. So lots of options here. I often find that students, if you're hanging on too tight in any of these variations, your neck may jet up. So I rather that you loosen your grip and your spine remains nice and long. So let's just hold it here for another 2 breaths. As you can see, I talk on purpose while we're doing these longer holds, okay? Just to get us through. Take one more breath here. Beautiful. Slowly release, hug the knees into the chest. And then you're going to stretch your legs straight, stretch your arms overhead, take another deep breath in. Good. Feel the effects, feel your legs and how you're starting to move some of that stagnant energy. Okay, next sequence. You might need, you're definitely going to need a block here. So a block, a book, anything that you have, a toy with a flat surface, anything to elevate your hips at whatever height feels good for you. And you may have to play around with that. So my feet are hips distance apart, and I want to walk my heels back so I can align my ankles underneath my knees. I may have to look with my eyes to see where that is. My fingertips also may be able to touch my heels, right? So that's a good place of measurement. And I'm going to take a deep breath in, and then I'm going to exhale, lift my hips up a little bit. So just depending on how tight my hip flexors, so the front of my hips, my quads are, right? My thigh bones, front of my thighs are, that will be dependent on how high I place my prop underneath my hips. So if I'm really tight, I'm going to try to keep this really low. I'm going to try to keep my hips lower. If I have a more flexibility, more range, I'm going to lift my hips up, right? So for some of you, this is where you're going to stay. You may feel a great stretch here into the quads and the hip flexors. If this is enough, you're going to stay here. If you want to play a little bit more, go deeper into the quad, then you may come along with me. The first option is to bend. You're just going to flex your right foot as you lift your right heel and maybe slide your right foot back. If you can grab your right heel, great, maybe your right top of your right foot, Maybe you're even going to peel back your right toes. So now I'm getting right into the quadricep here, okay? So it takes a little bit more out of your hip flexor and into the quad. You don't even have to know these anatomical names, right? It's just about thigh, hips. That's all we need to know. Just breathing into what we feel. If this hurts your foot, again, just curl the toes under. Some of you who have a yoga practice, you may be a little bit more flexible. You can bring your prop up high and engage your quadricep, okay? Relax your shoulders. We're just going to stay here for another breath. Good. And release. Stay right here, okay? So we're going to do the other side. So again, let's measure where our arms are. You can come onto your left toes, lifting your left heel. I may hang on to my left heel or start to walk my left foot back, pointing my left toes. So what worked with the right leg may not work with the left leg. So just being open, staying open to changing on the right side versus the left side, right? And so that gives us a life lesson in and of itself, right? So being open to changing and modifying and finding an alternative route day to day, right? What worked for us one day may not work for us tomorrow. Let's stay here for another 2 breaths. Remember, if this asymmetrical sequence doesn't work for you, this one-legged exercise doesn't work for you, then you just stay here in your bridge, right? The block can be at any height. Prop is at any height. 1 more breath wherever you are. And then releasing your feet, releasing your prop off to the side, releasing your hips. Let's just knock our knees side to side here, right? Just 3 times, starting to move any stagnant energy in our low back, in our spine, and then hug your knees into the chest. If you've been sitting at your computer all week, get on the floor, rock around on your back. Come on. Take a very deep breath in. And exhale. Let's slowly roll all the way up to sit. And again, have your blocks handy here. You're going to come over to hands and knees. I'm going to go this way. You're going to bring your palms underneath your shoulders, knees under the hips. We're going to find some movement in the spine. You're going to drop the belly. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round through the back as you push your palms down. You're going to do that a few times as you inhale, look forward. And then exhale, round through the back. Do that a few more times. So if you're seated in a chair, you can do this, right? Send your chest forward, round through the back. Send the chest forward, round through the back. Let's all do 1 more round. And then exhale. From here, let's curl our toes under. Send your hips way back. Spread through your fingers. Look to your thumbs and start to lift your hips into a downward facing dog. From here, you're going to pedal out through your heels, bending 1 knee at a time. Feel as if you're out for a walk here, but you're on your yoga mat. That's it. We're in Toronto. It's a beautiful November day. Take another breath here. Take another walk. And then start to walk your feet all the way up to your hands. From here, bend your knees a lot so you can touch the floor with your hands. Bend your knees as much as you need to. And as you let your head go, you're going to interlace your fingers behind your back. Start to stretch your arms up and over the head any amount. Stay here. More weight into the feet. Take 2 breaths. You can shake your head out now, very gently. Let anything that is occupying your mind Just flow right out of here. And then shake your head yes. Yes to just this moment. It's all we got. Arms release down. Bend the knees here and then roll it all the way up. All right. Fix your shirt. Roll the shoulders back. And then we'll continue to warm up the body. Okay. Let's bring our arms down by our side. You're going to start at the front of your mat. Find a little bit of space in front of your toes. Stand with your feet apart or feet together. But here in yoga, this practice teaches us to decide, right? Decide what is best for us in every moment. So I am just your guide, but you are your teacher. So you are asking yourself, what do I need in this moment? Feet together. Does that feel good? Feet apart. So from here, bend the knees a little. We're going to inhale, reach your arms all the way up. A little bend in the knees again, and then exhale, fold forward. You're going to bring your hands to the shins, look up, roll your shoulders back. Plant your palms or your fingertips, step your right foot back to a lunge, and then release your back knee down. If you have any knee issues, you can fold over the side of the mat, giving your right knee more support. You can also place that blanket underneath the right knee, walking your hands up your left thigh. Roll the shoulders back, and you can feel how you're giving yourself that hip flexor stretch, the same kind of stretch that we just engaged in that bridge pose when we were on our backs. So let's just start to warm up the arms a little bit. So I want you, as if you're sweeping the air forward, inhale, lift the arms up and rotate, making these big arm circles. That's it. Rotate the arms back. That's one. This is two. And this is three. Good job. You're going to bring your hands all the way down, and you're going to step your left foot back. From here, you're going to curl the toes under. Find that downward facing dog with your knees bent. So you can stretch through your low back, really important. Eventually, as you become familiar with this position, you may play with straightening your legs. But if you're new to this practice, keep your knees bent. From here, start to roll the shoulders forward. Drop the knees. Take your chest, heart forward. Bend your elbows as you lower the chest down safely. Point your toes, spin your hands out. You're going to roll your shoulders up and back. Shine your heart forward. We call this a cobra. Exhale and lower. Let's do that one more time. Cobra. And then exhale, release. Curl your toes under. You're going to move through a child's pose. So tap your hips onto the heels. Find a downward facing dog. Stay here, one breath. Exhale through the mouth. Good. Walk your feet up to your hands. Once you get to the top of the mat, hands to the shins, you're going to look up. And then bend your knees here. Fold your upper body down as you move it into your low body. And then reach your arms all the way up overhead. Palms come back together and they glide all the way down by the sides of the body. And let's do that whole sequence again. Okay. Ground down through the feet. Let's go. Inhale, arms lift up. Bend in the knees so you can hinge at the hips and release your hamstrings. Let your head go. From here, hands to the shins. Maybe your hands go a little bit lower as the backs of the legs open up. From here, bend the knees. Step your left foot back to a long lunge. Your left knee goes down, left toes. Again, if you have issues with that left knee, you can fold over the side of the mat, take support. Walk your hands up your right thigh. We're feeling the stretch in the left hip flexor right now. So let's inhale. Arms go all the way up. And then we're going to do 3 arm circles forward. So we're going to press the air forward. That's 1. Okay, let's press the air forward. That's 2. Doesn't this feel so much better in the heart? And that's 3. Inhale, arms lift up, gaze is up, rise the energy, lift your spirits. Exhale, hands come down. See if you can step your right foot back to your downward facing dog. As your legs start to warm, maybe the legs straighten out a little bit. What doesn't change is your effort in pressing your palms to the mat. From here, you're going to start to roll the shoulders forward to a plank pose. We're going to drop the knees right away, send your chest forward, and then lower all the way down to the mat. Let's just do one cobra. Point your toes, reach them back. Active in the toes. Roll the shoulders up and back as you push through the palms. Open up the chest, and then exhale, lower. Curl your toes under. Come all the way back to our downward facing dog. Stay here for 3, 2, and 1. I want you to come forward again to the plank. Lower the knees. Send the chest forward, and then you're going to come onto the right side of your body. Roll over to the side. Good. From here, you can bring your hand to the back of your head, or you can release your right ear to your right arm, your choice. But what we're going to do is bend the top knee. And some of you, this might be enough here. Okay, we're going to be working with gravity. So we feel the support of the earth here. We're going to take our left hand to the top of the left foot. And in any amount, you can draw that left heel towards your left glute, taking a quad stretch. That's it. You can straighten that left arm. You can open up the leg behind you, or just keep that heel nice and close. But as you can feel, you're getting this opening here through the front of that left thigh. Let's stay here for another breath. Good job. Releasing your left leg, coming all the way over. Let's take a cobra before we do the right leg. Inhale, roll the shoulders up and back, and then lower. So you're going to roll onto the left side of your body now. I'm going to spin around. Then a few options. Bring your left hand behind your head. Left arm extends. Bend your right knee. Pressing your right foot into that right hand. So remember, you never want to stretch to the point of pain, okay? There's a difference in discomfort, right? Where, I feel a stretch, it's really tight. And, I'm in a lot of pain. So this practice, I find, really teaches us to discern comfort, what feels really good, what feels really bad, and then what we call our edge, right? The edge is somewhere where it's not comfy, but we could breathe there. And it's interesting. We get curious about it. Good. One more breath. And then release. Coming back onto the belly. Let's do one more cobra. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Let's take a child's pose. So sit your hips back onto the heels. Take your knees nice and wide. Lift your chest. And then slowly, as you walk your hands forward, let your head go. Take a few deep breaths here into the back of the heart and your low back. This is a great place to come after a long day. Never mind any of the other poses. This just helps to kind of clear the mind of just all the chaos, right? So you bring your third eye, that space between your eyebrows, and you just breathe there as you bring it down to the mat, to the floor, to your hands. Soften your shoulders, stretch out your low back. Yeah. And we're just going to roll it all the way up. So good. And then come on over to hands and knees. From here, curl the toes under. Press your hips up and back. Let your head go. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Start to walk your feet all the way up to the hands. Hands to the shins. Lengthen the chest. And then slowly fold forward. From here, you're going to extend the arms all the way up and over the head. Lower your thumbs down. Arms come down by your side. Okay. So if you have blocks or something that looks like blocks, you're going to make sure that you have them here for this sequence. I'm actually just going to angle my mat out so you can see a little bit closer. So I have my blocks there in case I need them. We're going to start on our left foot, and we're going to shift the weight into our left foot as we begin to lift our right knee. We're going to hug our right knee into the chest. So if you have any balance issues, we all do. It's just day to day. You can use a wall. So you can press your left hand into a wall and you can do the sequence. Okay. So breath here. The next step is to keep that right knee bent. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Take your hips back, chest forward. I'm going to give you lots of options here. The first one is to bring the palms together. Sit deeper into this one-legged chair. Second option, you're going to take your forearms to the right shin. Third option, don't have your blocks as far as I did. Bring them underneath your palms or the fingertips. So what you want to make sure of in this one-legged chair is that you pull your hips back, right? You don't want to be into that ankle or the shin. You want your knee almost behind, your left knee behind that left ankle. So we've been in this position before, right? We started on our backs with that ankle over the thigh. It's more challenging here because now we've incorporated the balancing element, and we're also kind of working against gravity to hold ourselves up. So there's a lot more going on here, right? Plus we have that right tight hip that we're working with. So take another breath or two wherever you are, right? The longer we stay, you'll start to feel how the sensation changes. Take one more inhale. And then start to lift up. Okay. Hug your right knee into the chest if you can. And we're going to do a quad stretch on the right leg. Lots of options here. So just like we did on the sides of the body, just like we did on our backs. You're going to see if you can bend your right knee. Take a hold of your right ankle with your right hand. So my right hand's to the outside of my right foot. Maybe my left hand can go behind to the inside of my right foot too. Not necessary. You can just keep your left hand on your hip for good measure and stability. You can also start to take this into what we call a dancer pose. So you're starting to lift your right quad up so it's parallel with the floor as you press your right foot into the right hand. Maybe your left hand goes forward as well. Okay? Yeah, this is a tricky one. Took me years and years to learn it. Hold it here. 3. Find one gaze point. 2. And 1. Slowly lifting up. We're almost there. Okay, let's shift weight into that right foot. And we're going to do that same sequence on the other side. So finding your balance on the right foot, pull the left knee in, flexing your foot, and then crossing your left ankle over the right thigh. So if you are seated, you can do this on your chair, okay? Go for another round. Send your hips back, keeping that left foot really flexed. Palms together at the heart center. The more you fold forward, the deeper you go, but keep pulling your left hip back. The image that I always keep in my mind when I'm doing this pose, as if I'm kind of tying my thighs together behind me, right? Think about your sitting bones, so those bony edges around your butt, right? Coming together, right? The big Christmas bow there. Good. Lift up through the chest here. You can go deep, right? So same stretch in that outer left hip, just a different access point, right? And I think of this pose as, layering more challenge into it, right? So there's lots of possibilities, right? Doesn't mean that we're not going to try it, even though it's challenging. Okay. And then we're going to come all the way up. Find stability, bend your left knee. Take hold of the outer left ankle, right hand to the right hip, or both hands can come behind and grab that left ankle, or you can start to work into your dancer pose. You can bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot or the outside. You get to decide, right? If you need to, you can try this dancer pose with a wall, right? I needed to take the wall, right? Lift up that right arm up. Keep lifting up through the left thigh wherever you are. Stay for 3, for 2, and for 1. We did this dancer pose, right? On the sides of our body. Again, it's just a different access point, different point of entry. Take a deep breath here. Exhale, let it all go. Let's come down to the floor. Got a few more things to do. And this is where you're going to need your blanket or your towel or your mini couch cushion or pillow. Just prop your butt on the edge of it. Reason being, it's going to help to open your low back and hamstrings, give you some more access in your hips. So let's start with our Okay, and we are back. Sorry about that. I hope that you didn't go far. Let's try this again. Okay, so we're going to bend our right knee, and we're going to do a hip opener again, right? It'll be our last one just to finish off the practice with this supported seated hip opener. So as you bend your right knee again, we're going to take our right ankle over the left thigh here. Now, if this is really a lot for you just to sit like this, you're going to hang here. You want a little bit more, you start to fold forward. So what I want you to be aware of, if you're really roundy through your upper back, then you're not going to get a lot out of it in your hips because your whole upper body is just crunched and hunched over here. So you want to try to stay really lifted in the chest. So more weight is in the sitting bones in the hips. You can also take a strap around that left foot, but you don't even really need to because it's not about the hamstring for this. We're targeting the outer hip. So you can start to take your chest forward. If you're looking for a little bit more stretch and you have more flexibility in the hips, you can do what we call fire log pose or double pigeon, where you bend your bottom knee and you can sit up tall like this, or as you bend your left knee, your left foot goes underneath your right knee and my right foot is on my left knee, right? So it looks like fire logs. And so it's definitely more of a stretch in the outer hips, and then you can fold forward any amount. You just want to be really cautious here of the knees, right? But this is the pose that we're doing. Again, different access points, different levels, different modifications, right? Different variations, same target. Finding a few deep breaths here. One more. Sounds good. Okay. All right. Lift up. Let's just do the other side. Nothing fancy. Left knee bends. Roll the shoulders back. And then from here, you're going to cross your left ankle over the right thigh. And remember to be open for taking props on this side, even if you didn't take props on the other side, or bending this knee, or maybe going a little bit deeper on this side, right? We always have a tighter side. And so we have to treat the different sides of our bodies differently, right? And tend to what's needed. Let the head go, softening through the shoulders and through the neck, right? If you're interested in going into that fire log pose, you want to start to walk that right foot as you bend your right knee. Right shin is underneath the left shin. Either stay or you fold. I definitely feel the different sides on my body here. This side is way tighter, way tighter. All right, and it's interesting just to acknowledge that and know that. And what yoga teaches us is not to be attached to it. It is what it is today. It's a circumstance. It's what we think about it that really counts. Take another breath here. Good job. And then roll it all the way up. Okay, 3 more poses. One of them's a rest pose. So we're going to stretch our quads one last time. I'm going to give you lots of variations here. Move that blanket off to the side and grab more of your firmer props to use. So first option is to just bring your big toes together and sit back on the heels and take your knees apart. So for some of you, this is a lot. You're just going to hang right here. Some of you might even start to walk your hands back. If you want to go a little bit deeper onto the forearms, make sure that you take your butt, place, and just kind of scoop your hips up. And then you come onto the forearms. But what I don't want to see is one palm and then one forearm, right? See how I'm just kind of cranked here in my shoulder? So you want to find either forearms or palms, right? And then you're just breathing here into the quads. Same kind of stretch, same outcome, same intention, different way to do it. Right? Another option for you is to also, if this is too much to sit on the heels, is to grab your firmer props and sit on them. Okay? And if this is still a lot, if you have some tender knees, you can work into it from curling your toes under, maybe sitting back on the heels, maybe counting to 3, coming up for a rest. You can also take a blanket underneath your knees. And then maybe trying it for a little longer. Right? Make sure that your face is not grimacing. You're not losing your breath. We want to, right? That edge is the place where it's uncomfortable, but we can breathe. Wherever you are in your quad stretch, stay there for a few more breaths. Right? Just wherever you are. Try not to go all the way down onto your back when you're sitting on your heels, because you're just going to create this arch in your low back and possibly create some pain, right? That's going beyond your edge. One more breath wherever you are. Good. And then start to walk your hands all the way forward. Move your hips off to one side. Our last stretch before we just release into a resting pose. So legs in front of you. If you found during those hip openers that we did that you like sitting on a blanket and it gave you more space in your low back to stretch, then sit back on the blanket. I always tell my students to find a little prop when you're doing these seated forward folds. It really can help you access the pose, right? And start to let your body feel what it's like to go a little bit deeper, right? Just by these really helpful props. Bend your knees a little, start to fold forward towards your toes, towards your ankles, whatever you can hold on to. I don't want you to have your hands just floating again. Maybe your blocks are next to you. But wherever you are, I want you to find a lift in the chest, roll the shoulders back, and then fold deeper. Do that again. Inhale, 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 lift up, and then exhale, fold. Letting the head go. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your chest. Softening, looking back into your heart. One more breath. And so we're going to roll up, bring the soles of the feet down, move all the props off to the side. And we're going to find our resting pose for 2 minutes. So make your way down to your back. For your resting pose, you want to take your legs out, find as much space as you can, arms open. And your intention here is to do nothing. So close your eyes, relax your body, let all that work go. Let any residual tension that's just hanging out there, let it release into the bedrock of the earth. Let it release out through the fingertips or the toes. Let your breath be easy and fluid. Let your mind be soft. And just relax here for the next few moments. Start to bring your attention all the way back into the body. And give your fingers a wiggle, your toes a wiggle, and then stretch the arms up high. Start to bend your knees, roll over to one side. Pause here. Move with intention as you lift all the way up to sit. We'll meet with the palms together, thumbs to the heart space. Bowing your palms into a prayer, which is just a gratitude of devotion and honor to yourself and to each other. That's it. So I thank you so much for meeting me here. Thank you for your trust and your presence. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.